Technically, we are live. Refresh my YouTube screen. Let's see here. Come on. Wait for it on YouTube. All right, good evening. Welcome to RC Conference Live and our special guest, the Tank RC. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, that's me.
Yes, that is you. So we'll let some people get on here. I know KB's been in the chat. KB, Big Head, Guru was in the chat earlier. We'll let some people get on, and then we'll get started. Again, want to thank you for joining us tonight and allowing the opportunity to ask some questions and for me to get to know you better, and hopefully some of the followers as well. Big Head.
Well, Big Head, to my mother, I am special.
And that's all that matters.
That's all. And to my wife also, for now.
Yes. Yes. So we were just talking backstage, talking about the 24-hour feed live stream that went on from Friday till this morning. Pretty impressive. Can't believe those guys pulled it off, but they did.
Yeah.
So
it's not that easy to have content for 24 hours and to keep talking and keep busy for 24 hours.
Agree. And from what they were saying when I was on there this morning is that that Nightbox. Let me stop that. Their viewers throughout the thing, like they were averaging, I think, just over 50 viewers for 24 hours. I think that's impressive.
True.
Because I could only imagine the difficulties for 24 hours. I mean, even 2 hours, it could.
Yeah, but the algorithm of YouTube actually helps you if your YouTube is longer. It actually promotes your video to other new people, so it actually helps them.
Okay. So, but I was telling you that I know of, they were close to raising 2,000 pounds. Queen, welcome. Saw her in the chat on that this morning when I was in there. So we got a few people on here. So welcome to RC Conference Live with the Tank RC. We're going to be asking him some questions, get to know him a little better. And if y'all have any questions, put them up in the chat and we will try to answer them.
And RC Basher Boy is not here tonight.
Yes, thank you for saying that. Gabe is not going to make it tonight. So he's got to leave town for work and he's getting his stuff together for that. So it will be.
Are we going to miss him? Are we really going to miss him? Say yes. Say yes so it looks good. You
yes. Yes, we'll miss him.
Yeah,
we'll miss
him.
We'll
miss him greatly.
Yes. We'll miss the fact that you had a prank or something you wanted to pull on him, and we're not going to have that. So
I'm still going to do it.
Oh, okay, great. Awesome. Perfect. Because he did tell me, he messaged me, he goes, I'll catch it on the replay. So he plans to watch it. So
cool.
So my first question, what do you do for a living outside of YouTube?
Very complicated.
Okay.
I'm a system designer for audio-visual equipment for conferencing. So let's say you have a conference center, they were looking for AV equipment, let's say a PA system or a projector, or they have a big conference room they want to set up. I'm the guy that actually designs it and tells the salesman what to sell as a product for the whole project to go. And then I design it in AutoCAD and virtually wire it kind of for the people to actually go and install it. So
nice,
I'm a designer.
So, and do you, when you're designing it, I mean, do you design it down to the last T, like every individual component, like
yes.
Each individual, like, hey, they need a higher level projector, higher level audio or whatever, like you pick it out to the T?
Yes, because I have to, because if I tell the salesman, here, you need this on the quote to give to the client, when I draw it in AutoCAD, I have to like put a speaker there. I have to draw the line for the speaker line. So not to forget, I need to order cables. And then there's the connectors that actually connects those speakers if there's some connectors on some equipment. So there's a lot of different stuff that you really got to think about and put your head into it to make sure that you're not missing anything. They're going to install a projector in the ceiling. Well, you need the bolts. So they need to quote that. So I got to make sure I put it in the list. So there's a lot of things I got to think of when I give this to the salesperson for him to put the quote together.
Nice. Awesome. Very cool. I like electronics. So, and my dad, in his personal time, has been a sound engineer, so to speak, in a way.
Okay.
Run sound for bands all my life. In fact, he toured with Molly Hatchet when I was a kid, and was on the sound team for them. And so he even now has a PA system and stuff. So I've always been intrigued by that stuff because I've had some knowledge, probably not enough to be dangerous, but definitely some knowledge.
Well, it's funny you should say that on roadie and trade and shows like that, because there's a company called Solotech. They just bought the company I work for. So now I work for Solotech, and Solotech is a big tour company, like for Céline Dion in Las Vegas. They're the one that takes care of Céline Dion and a whole bunch of different shows, Cirque du Soleil and all that. They're the one that takes care of all their shows. So I'm not working for them. So I could change job and change different thing if there's an opening and expand what I'm doing. But I'm getting old. I'm not. I'm going to stay where I am. I'm comfortable.
Cool. And I take it you enjoy what you do, obviously.
Yep.
Cool. Now, do you have to travel much for that?
For training, some training, yes.
Okay.
Like I mentioned before, I go to Vegas I used to go every 2 years, but I haven't gone, well, because of COVID. It was closed. They actually closed the trade show. The year I was supposed to go, I booked my plane. 2 weeks later, they closed all the airports, like no more flights, no more nothing. Well, no, not the airports right away. They closed all the trade shows that was happening. So I had to cancel my flights.
Gotcha. Kevin Gibbs, welcome. How's it going, Kevin? All right, that's interesting. That's cool. So, what other hobbies outside of RC do you have?
Woodworking.
Okay.
I used to be a carpenter before I did what I do now. So I used to build houses. So I like working with my hands. I do plumbing. I do electrical. Anything that has to do with house and renovations, I've touched it and I do it. So that's why I'm good to actually build obstacle courses, like what I'm doing right now with Ollie's RC Park. I just built a bridge, a big long rope bridge. Plus I built a whole bunch of other stuff there. So I'm very good with an air gun and hammers and just building stuff and just thinking of it and building it. So my next thing is I'm going to probably build some houses to put on the trails to make it look like villages.
Nice.
But people don't realize how big those houses have to be if they're 1/10 size.
Yeah, bigger than you think.
Bigger than you think. It's not just a small little tiny house, because the door has to be 8 inches high. That means if the door is 8 inches high, the ceiling, the wall has to be higher, and then it has to be wide, and then you have the roof. It becomes a friggin' big house. It's a big Barbie house.
I mean, thinking about it, I agree with you. Even myself, I've mistaken it. Like when I've went to USTE, now only 2 years in, going my third year this coming year, and they have a few scale houses, and they're good size, and it's like, wow, I wouldn't think they'd be that big. But then you think about it, it's like, well, it's got to look bigger than the vehicle. And our 110 vehicle, especially like you got like a Gen 8, I mean, it's a big body vehicle.
It's huge, yes.
So yeah, it's amazing how big they are. But knowing that you enjoy woodworking definitely makes sense, because I've seen some of your videos with some of the bridges you made when you had the course in your backyard and stuff, and you made some pretty cool stuff there. So, and Shade Tree, welcome. And I see Gabe has made it into the chat. Hello, Gabe. So that's awesome. You do a good job with the woodworking from the stuff I've seen you do with the RCs and stuff. So that's
Thank
pretty
you.
cool. So how and why did you start YouTube?
I started YouTube so I can upload videos of my son to YouTube to share with the family.
Okay.
Because when it's actually still there, you go and you see my son, he's in a shopping cart and we're going through, I think it was Canadian Tire, the equivalent to your Pet Boys, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So just going down the aisles and he's got a little thing playing and he's maybe 1 year old, not even. So I started YouTube to upload stuff to share with the family. So, and then it just evolved.
And that reminds me of like sort of me. I think I created my YouTube channel. If you look, I think it was created in 2006, which was like the first year of YouTube. I did it so I could share car videos with online people, with friends, not, just to have somewhere to upload and give them a link so they could check out a video of my car or other cars or whatever. So sort of the same thing. And then of course started making RC YouTube videos. Well, actually, even back then I made some that I shared, but again, just for a sharing point that I made those, and only got into making, videos like I do now, just I think close to 3 years ago now, 2.5, 3 years. So CJ, welcome.
Hey, CJ, Shade Tree, how you doing? And I upload now. I moved everything to radio control because I like helping people, and I think some of my videos are sometimes helpful. And even my most popular videos that has the most views is actually using shoe glue and Gorilla Glue. Like I compared 3 different types of glue, and that one has the more hits. It's just stupid that way. It's just how-to videos and that I think it's easy for the people to actually do. Just like another video I did a while back was this thing. So it's just a can with some clothespins.
Yeah.
And you just glue them and you use an empty can. And guess what this is right now? It's a shock tower. It's a shock tower that cost me nothing. Instead of paying 12 or 15 bucks, you take your shock and you just put it into there and let it dry. Like,
nice. Very nice. So we do got a question in the chat from KB. He wanted to know if you were in the hobby before YouTube and posted any of your videos. So I guess basically, were you in the hobby before YouTube started?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
I was, but I did not do any videos back then. Simply because the phones weren't there. And it's so easy nowadays to do videos with the phone.
Yes.
When I started YouTube, I was looking for something better. So like GoPro, or I was using even a camcorder because I did weddings and special occasions before as a hobby, before radio control. So weddings, special occasions, hockey games, figure skating. I went there and I videotaped and I sold the tapes to the parents when they were practicing or the competition.
Nice.
So it was freaky for the figure skating, because when I went to videotape a figure skating competition, I was not allowed to sell a copy of somebody else's daughter, because they would say somebody wants a copy because they're going to spy on her and copy her moves. So I was only allowed to sell the parents or the daughter, so they had to prove, oh yes, this is my daughter, this is my ID. So it was weird, but I had all the equipment. So for me, it was filming with a camcorder at the beginning, but it was so big and bulky, and then the camcorder became the size of a pop can, so it was way easier. But that's what I was filming before, because the quality was way better than the phone. But then the phone caught up, and now I use only the phone. So
yeah, that's me too. It's I use actually an S8 is what I currently use for a Samsung S8, which is my old phone from quite a few years ago. I have an S10 Plus, but I've tried them both, and it's like the quality is the same. but there's some new ones coming out, it looks like. Casey Neal, welcome. Guru RC's back, welcome. So how many RC vehicles do you own? And it don't have to be an exact number. It can be a roundabout number if you want.
I stopped counting. I was at 58. And that was a while back. So I'm well over 60, but I have not counted how many I got so far.
Okay. And how do you store yours? Like, I mean, do you have a storage system for yours since you have so many? Or is
I
it
have
just...
those black shelf, those black PVC shelf, I think they're called.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all on the shelf. Basically, all my on-road are sitting on the wheels. My crawlers have blocks under them to lift up the suspension. My bashers are just sitting on the ground. I should lift them. It'd be better for the shocks. But I'm just lazy. So I just put them there. I usually don't clean my car when I come from bashing. So they're usually dusty or muddy or whatever, and I just put them on the shelf. The way I clean my car is once I put it on the table and I work on it, the dirt just falls off of it. And then I clean my desk, and then I go bashing again.
Yeah.
So when something breaks, that's when I fix it. I don't bother cleaning it all up with a toothbrush or with a brush, and then not armor all, but put some lube on the screws to make sure they don't rush and things like that. I don't do that. I just clean it if I have to. And that's actually one of my pet peeves. If somebody's selling something and they take a picture full of dirt, full of dust, and full of thing, and they're asking for a big price. To me, that's like, come on, buddy, clean it up. Like, just use some simple green or something with a brush and just clean it all up, and then take pictures of it. Like, don't show that you've put a lot of love into it.
Yeah,
you put a lot of love into it. So.
Yeah. See, I'm with you on the cleaning thing now. Like the chassis, I very rarely ever do anything to the chassis. The bodies, my crawler bodies will typically get I'll take them to the kitchen sink and put them under some hot water and, maybe take just some dish soap and, go over them. Like if I'm going out with the group crawl or something like that, I definitely clean the bodies. Or maybe if I'm on a video, I usually do. And then I leave them until like the ones I compete with, after a competition or maybe before the next competition, I might do the same thing. My tires, it depends on how dirty they get. Like if they got wet and, it's stuff stuck to them, I'll clean them. But my bashers, like my Max, it gets no love that way. I mean, if it gets muddy, I'll clean it off. I literally have hosed that thing off and then just let it sit.
Well, my last video that I put up was about my twin hammer, my puppy, I call it. It's my puppy. At the end of the video, right after the credit, if people kept watching it, I actually just flip it underneath on its side in the water, and I'm washing the ears and I'm pouring water on it to get all the sand off. Because it had to go in my car in my back seat, so I didn't want to dirty my back seat. So if it's wet, not bad, but like all the sand, no thanks. So I quickly threw water on it and just put it in the car. Let's go.
Nice.
Let's go.
Welcome, John Martin.
Hey, John Martin, how are you doing?
So yeah, I don't spend too much time, and most of the time I don't. I've done upgrades because of trying to increase the performance of, say, a crawler. Make it maybe not want to flip backwards. Add weight or whatever, but typically speaking, I don't do anything unless I'm replacing a broken part. Like my Max, I haven't done anything to it except for, I did the wide kit initially, and I won it with the wide kit separately. It's like it came with it. So I was going to put that on, and then I haven't done anything to it until one of the screws came out in the A-arm here recently, and I bought the upgraded kit that you put the slide pins in with the screw to hold it in. But outside of that, I haven't done anything to that thing except for just drive it and beat on it.
Cool.
But all right. So what was your first hobby grade RC?
My first hobby grade RC. Funny you should mention that. I have it right here.
Oh,
That's a good question. I still have it.
Nice.
And it's got a little antenna, and it still has the same electronics on it. So anybody want to guess what type it is in the chat?
Anybody got a guess in the chat what type his first hobby grade RC is that we know has an antenna on it? I have a guess, but I'm going to keep my mouth closed.
That thing's friggin' long, man. Holy cow.
Here we have a couple guesses.
Yeah, it is a Tamiya. Oh, it looks like Big Head is out of the timeout.
Yeah,
RC dashboard Porsche. Nope, it is a Tamiya.
See, I was thinking Tamiya as well. So
yeah, it is a Tamiya.
Hornet. Nice. Here, let me.
So it's a Super Hornet. I actually lost a light. I gotta try to find another one. I thought I kept it and put it somewhere, but I cannot find it anymore. So
nice.
I actually lost a light.
And it still runs?
It still runs. It still has the same electronic. It has a electronic, not electronic. It's got a manual speed control with a servo. So it's got the same motor it came with. It is a 540 can. But it's... I'm not going to change anything. I'm not going to change the electronic. I'm going to keep it the way it is.
Yeah.
The radio is still a crystal radio. I'm going to keep that on there. It's the only one that runs it. I do have some spare tires for it because I think I burned like three pairs of these tires, so I got another set. I shouldn't run it on pavement, but I did. So that's what really chews these tires up very quickly.
Yeah.
But it's a fun little car. I changed the suspension a little bit at the back the way it is because it used to have like double suspension like here. Mm-hmm. It used to go up and down, but now I've actually locked it here. So now it actually just bends that way. So
okay.
It still is pretty good.
It's got good travel.
Pretty good. But it used to travel up this way also. But the spring that used to be there used to break all the time. And I was just sick and tired of changing it. Like I bought 4 or 5 different sets. And every time I took it out, it was breaking. So I said, okay, screw that. So I actually shoehooed a piece in there. So now the suspension is actually fixed. So still runs good. It's just for having fun and bashing. And it was the first kit I actually built. This was all in pieces. I actually built it at my wife's, actually, when I was with her at her cottage. So it was fun.
Nice. John Martin said, I bet it goes 10 miles an hour.
Oh, at least. I was surprised. I did a video of it about 2 or 3 years ago. And I thought it was faster than that. Like I'm hitting the punch and I go, wow, this thing is not jumping. It's not, it doesn't have a lot of pep when you compare it to all the other speed controller and all the other stuff. It's not the same as the other thing. So,
yeah. So we got a couple questions in the chat here and one sort of request. But Kevin Gibbs asks, what innovation in RC were you most impressed with in your history of RCs?
Probably the battery.
It's definitely come a long way. And
yeah, the battery and the electronics for them has come so far and so fast. It's just crazy the speed you get out of this now compared to before, because just keep in mind they used to have nitro, and nitro used to be so much faster than this and so much cooler than this, but then the electronics have just like leap and bound like over the nitro.
Lipos came out, even the very basic ones, they came out and instantly you could run longer with the electric than you could with a gas powered 8-minute, for the racers, that 8 minutes roughly to refuel if you were racing, and compared to 30 to 45 minutes on a lipo to race.
But one thing you cannot take away from nitro or the gas motors is the sound of them. Like when you're having fun and you're going ying, 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 ying,
yes.
And you're just having fun and you hear that gear change on some of them that had a second gear. That's cool. I love the sound of them, but my brother's got a couple of them. I'm trying to convince him for me to have them, to play with them, but I never had nitros before. I've always had electric, but it's just a tuning part, especially in Canada. In the morning, it's so humid, and then at lunchtime, it could be really hot, and then at night, it becomes humid again. So if ever you're playing with it, you got to keep adjusting that friggin' needle.
Definitely. And Guru RC asked if you could show us a dollhouse crawler and explain.
I could. I didn't bring one out, though. Not on that one, but let me get one. But even though it's a dollhouse, I still got to bash with it. Not bash, but I'm still going to put on the trail.
Kevin Gibbs, I'm sorry to hear that you're dealing with kidney stones. I know about those very well. It's in my line of work. I got a laser. I can take care of those for you if you need it.
I should not have put my keyboard there. Trying to jump over some RC cars.
Shade Tree says that I think there will always be a market for nitro, but that said, I'd say electric sells 100 to 1 or greater.
Yeah.
It's probably pretty accurate.
So I got a couple of them. One of them that I said I was going to take very good care of is actually this one. But like you just saw, some dirt fell off of it. So this one is actually dirty right now because I did go in the mud with it and in the dirt. And it's friggin' dusty right now. And like I said, I don't clean them. With this one, I should clean them. I don't want to bring this one on the trails so it gets scratched too much. This is full of sand. So I did play in the sand with it, and that's about it with this one. But this is pretty much dollhouse. Like, this is not good to bring on the trails. The tires are way too hard. They look very scaled. They look very good, but it's something to take care of and not scratch it up.
Yeah, especially with that paint or style body.
Yeah, this paint and the chrome part of this is just crazy because you can actually see the monitor and hey, I'm there in double. So this is one of them that I want to try to take care of. And even underneath, it's still full of dirt.
Yeah, it's still pretty clean too at the same time, though.
Yeah, well, I went in sand that was wet and not mud, so it's a little bit different.
Yep. Welcome, Sean's RC Adventure. Welcome.
But another one is this guy.
Oh yeah.
Now this is basically dollhouse kind of because it's very detailed in scale. This is the next generation I find when people have crawlers. And when you have a TRX4 or an SCX10 2 or 3, this does not compare to them. Yes, yours is going to be more performing, but this is a car like you'd take to the grocery store and then you take off road. So this is what I call dollhouse, and like all the doors open. I have beer bottles in there. I got fishing gear. There's cases you can take out. There's a bunch of stuff. I got a puppy on the front door, on the front seat. I got Mr. Bean driving it, and the door's open, the hood's open. So there's a lot of different things. There's a puppy, and he's got a burger inside.
Does the window go up and down?
Not this one,
okay.
But this one, it actually broke. I flipped it. I kind of flipped it, and it broke.
Oh, okay.
But I got to fix it. So to me, this is, and I made it look old. I made it look like as if somebody's restoring it. This was my first time I did this, and this is actually Bondo patch, and people sand it. So I got some gray and some brown Bondo patch. Some people are telling me you shouldn't have put rust on it because this is aluminum body. It's they don't rust. I go, it's not rust, it's Bondo. Or then they go, oh. So I'm thinking of changing the color of my Bondo and putting it all gray everywhere, because here in the hood I got gray Bondo. Mm-hmm. So it looks different. And then when I was making it look old, it was nice and shiny. And then I was just taking the Dremel and just like going in with a buffer, a dry buffer, and just like scraping the body. And like on the side here, I did a nice long scratch. So I did not do any dents, but I did do a lot of scratches on here. So
yeah, no, that looks awesome, and that to me is perfect dollhouse right there. That's what dollhouse is.
And one thing is, I bought a light kit for it also, and then I was gonna install it. So I take the light kit, but it was for another truck, but it fits all the lights here. And then I'm going with it, and I go, okay, where am I going to pass my lights? My thing has to go in the front. Usually, you don't care where you put your light kit on the TRX4 or whatever. It could be on the ceiling, it could be in the middle on the door panel. But this, you have to hide everything, because when you open the door or when you open this, you don't want to see any wires going through. You don't want to see any wires going to the light. So
yeah, exactly.
Everything has body panels.
Yeah.
So everything has to be hidden. And then I realized, wait a minute, I don't have any spare wire to actually extend my lights. So because this is custom work, there's no manual for a lot of things you're doing here. So this is all custom work that you do. So I had to go on Amazon and actually order some very small 22 gauge wire, or 24 gauge. This is what it's not written on it. But this is very small wire. This is almost the same thing as what you get for your electronics for transmitter receiver for the 3-wire. So I ordered 30 feet of that. And I said, and then I look at the price. I go, for that price, I ordered 2 rolls. So I'm set for a long time now. So
yeah. But yeah, I think a lot of people forget that. Like even me, when you just said that a second ago and talking about like the lights and stuff, like I have lights in multiple of my rigs, but none that are detailed out on the inside like yours is. Yeah. So the wires are just sort of, and I hate that part because it's sort of, you either end up with wires hanging down where you can see them through the windows, or you're electrical taping them into the corners sort of type thing. But I hadn't thought about it like that. Like, to run the lights and not see all the wires, that's got to be tedious.
Mm-hmm.
Codecraft RC, welcome. And I've blocked Nightbot for the time being. He's blocked, so I guess I got to adjust some settings or something on there. He keeps catching comments.
Yeah, you got to go in your Nightbot setting and change. You can take me off presenting if you want.
Oh, yeah.
You got to go in your Nightbot setting and tell it not to do the emojis. I disabled Nightbot pretty much on everything except for what the private messages, just like that I do, and the shout out thing, which I can send you what to post, and then people just write shout out and they post a link in there. So it's pretty easy to do.
Yeah, so it's blocked for the rest of the night. I'll deal with that off camera, so shouldn't have that happen anymore. Sorry, guys. So no, I love that rig of yours. That's perfect scale dollhouse looks. Thanks for showing that.
And it's not for the faint of heart. Not everybody can do that, because there's a lot of thinking outside the box. Sometimes you got to realize, because you get a chassis and now you have to put that body on. Okay, how am I going to make sure it fits on and it stays on? Because you can't put body clips. It's not ready to run. So there's a lot of thinking you got to do into this. I'm lucky because this is a GCM chassis, and GCM actually worked on this kind of type of truck before, and they've actually did some 3D printing for the body mount. So they've already figured it out. So he supplied me the body mounts. I paid for them. He sent them, and then I installed it. So it was a little easier for that. But usually, a lot of people, they put this body on a TRX4 or on SEX10. So you really got to think of, okay, how am I going to tie this on there? So
yeah. Sean said that the BRX01 is hard to hide wires as it's so small compared to the Range Rover.
Yeah.
Well, and even the what is it? The totally having a brain fart. The Toyota truck one that's real popular.
The Hilux?
Yeah, I mean, like if you want to, I mean, I guess you got the bed sort of hide some of the stuff, but you don't have a whole lot of inside to hide stuff. I know there's been people that's done a lot of scale on those. I had one, but I didn't. It was already scaled out to a certain extent, but I got rid of it. So, all right. So My next question is, if money's not an issue, what RC would you own?
It'd have to be the I think it's that Mammoth, the 8x8.
Oh yeah.
That one to me would be nice to have. I'd rather have that than construction vehicles and things like that, because I don't do a lot of those, or I'm not into that. But that one, because it's an 8x8, or actually build my own one, would be kind of fun.
Okay. And I was going to ask you, it wasn't on my questions, but I was going to ask about construction RCs, but you sort of just hit it just there with that. And I know you have at least a couple RC tanks, right? I'm assuming you probably have. I know I've seen two, I think, that I've seen.
Yeah, I have three now. I have a small one, I can't remember the scale, but it's a smaller one, and it actually works with the other one, the Airsoft and the IR. So I wanted to take it out with my son and play with this summer, but I just ran out of time. It's just
Gotcha.
Just too busy.
You think you'll get any more of those, more tanks down the road?
Probably down the road. There's a couple more tanks I want to get. That would be fun to play with. I like the fact that the last one I got is full metal. So everything is metal. The tracks is metal, gears, everything on it is fully upgraded. One thing I'd love to get on the tank, but I'll lose my airsoft, which means shooting bullets, is actually put the smoke gun into it. So it actually shoots air, and it's actually a puff of smoke that comes out. It's really cool, and there's a red light in it, so it looks like an explosion. That is awesome. But you actually lose the feature of shooting BB guns when you put that.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was definitely cool when they shoot the pellets. I mean, it's sort of cool with that. So awesome. Well, what'd be cool is that 8x8 Mammoth. I mean, you could set it up to, it's basically a military style vehicle. Yeah. Go with the tanks pretty well.
Yeah.
So that would be cool.
I would do it like a recovery truck. You'd set up a crane at the back. That's the way I would have it. I would set up a crane or something at the back that it's like a boom. Like I could flip people back over or lift them or pull them. So having a boom at the back, and I know they have some electric booms. They do exist. So that'd be cool to set up the Mammoth with, and it's heavy enough. I've seen it. Some guys around here had it, and I lifted it in my hands, and it's a heavy truck. It's a nice truck, but price is steep, but it's nice.
Yeah, it is pretty cool looking. So you do a lot of different RCs. I mean, you have crawlers, you have the dollhouse, trail trucks. We were talking earlier. You've got the drifters, your 32 Ford project. Your video came out today on. You've got some bashers, you've got tanks. So out of all of that, what would you say is, what style RC do you enjoy the most out of all those?
It probably has to be the crawlers, for the simple reason you get a longer run out of it, and plus you're outside more, and you can play and enjoy them longer than bashers. Bashers, you're bashing with it. Batteries don't last as long, and on top of that, you might break something because you're bashing them. And if you go crawling, yes, you can break something if you're not careful. But if you use your head while you're in the trails, there shouldn't be any reason for you to break anything. So it's just use your head. And when you see your wheel is actually, you're going through something or a rock, and you see it, you're binding up and the wheel has a hard time. It's not throttle out to get out of there, because you're going to break something, maybe. So there's a weak point on your car. Leave it there. Don't
always going to be one.
Yep. You need one. So
I agree with that. Even with a crawler, obviously things like you said are going to break. They are, but you might get 5 or 6 or 10 crawls before you get a breakage of some sort. Like you said with bashers. It's probably, depending on what you're bashing with, there's probably a good 70% chance or more that you go out and bash with it. If you're really bashing, you're probably going to potentially break something every time you go out, which depends on how hard you bash. That's what it comes down to. But bashing is definitely fun. But yeah, my basher is still sitting from the last time it was used, waiting for me to replace the part. I got the parts, I just ain't fixed it yet.
Me, it would be trail trucks or rock crawlers, or rock racing is another one that's kind of fun. But trail truck, and then it would be on-road cars, because I like taking a walk. And before I had my other dog that we just got, I used to joke about that is, okay, I'm going to go take a walk, but I'm going to walk my RC. So I don't have a dog, so I'm walking my RCs.
Yeah.
We went camping with my son when I had my Winnebago. We brought RCs with us all the time, and it was fun at the campground. In the morning, we used to go out, okay, let's go take a walk. And then me and him were taking a walk all the way around the campground with our RCs. And you should have seen the people like, wow, this is cool. That's neat. And it got me out with my boy, and we talked while we're driving and while we're doing stuff. We talk. We could talk about whatever. So it's a lot of fun.
Completely agree with you on there. I've done the same thing. I've went for walks for exercise and taken an RC and driving on the trail. And even though there might not be fun stuff to crawl or whatever, just driving it, and it gives me something to concentrate on while I'm walking and not thinking about maybe possibly the boring walk, maybe makes it a little less boring. And I've been to some nice places with some nice hiking trails, and, had some actually good places to crawl while walking. So definitely recommend that. So Kevin Gibbs says trail trucks here too.
Cool.
But so on your channel, what video would you say you had the most fun filming that you currently have out?
It's probably the one with Outback Jack that me and my son did. It's called Zombie Killers. So we took a whole bunch of zombies, wrestlers, and we bought some Halloween blood and put blood all over them, and we stood them up, and they were attacking Outback Jack, because Outback Jack then was doing a world tour. Stopped at my place, and I had him fighting zombies. So it was a fun video that me and my son actually did, and I actually sat down with my son and showed him how to do a video. So we basically did a storyline on paper first. I showed him, listen, and I actually drew a picture, squares, and I showed him, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we got to do a barn, we got to do the zombie that comes out of the ground, we got to do this. So I had all the storyline, and then when we were outside, he was following, okay, we did this, that, we're going to do this. So I was showing him the steps of how to make a movie, in other words, using a storyline. So it was fun.
Nice. And it's not on my questions, but you sort of led me there a little bit. So you have a son, you've done some RCing with. Now, is he interested in RC? And I think I heard you talk about this recently, I think on your live stream. I think it got briefly mentioned, but is he interested in RC? And if so, how much is he interested?
He still enjoys coming out with me and coming out. I brought him last year to the indoor race. There's a big indoor racetrack for slash and buggies and things like that. So he does have a short course truck. So I brought him over there with a short course truck. And that evening, okay, we're going to go. Okay, I'm going to go. I don't like it that much. And he's back then he was 11. Now he's 12. But he's there dragging his feet. I'm only going there because you want me to. But once we were there, once he was on the track, he did not want to leave. Dad, this is so much fun. And then I go, okay, you just finished your 5,000 milliamp battery. Do you want another one? He goes, yeah, put another one. I'll go again. So he actually used up 5,000 milliamp while we were there.
Nice.
On this short course truck. He just didn't want to go. He just wanted to keep going. That's Sebastien for you. He's going to bitch because he doesn't want to go, but once he's there, he has a lot of fun. The last crawl I did, he didn't want to go, but I told him, hey, ask your buddy, your class buddy that comes with you, or your hockey buddy, which lives close to my house. Tell him to come over. He's been asking for a long time to come crawling with us. So he invited him, and they had a blast in the woods. Like I barely saw him. They were always gone, and they want to go back again.
Nice.
So yes, he still likes RC, but he has a lot of other priorities right now. His friends are more important.
Yep.
He's 12, so
yeah.
From 8 to 12, I've seen like a down. It's a little harder to bring him to events.
Mm-hmm.
But he does come. If I tell him, listen, you're coming to an event with me this weekend, let's go. We're going to have some fun. He comes. The big event in Canada for the G6, he loves going to that. It's far away. It's a 4-hour drive. He doesn't like to drive, but he likes being there. He likes at the campground. Like we're staying there for 3 days, so he loves it. We're camping and we're playing with RCs all the time. He loves those events. So it's a hit and miss with him right now because of his age.
Now, what does he think of with you making videos? Does he think it's cool, or your dork dad, or like?
Oh no, he thinks it's cool. Every time he goes and check how many subs I got. Oh wow, you got this many subs. Oh, you got this.
Nice.
He started a TikTok account, so me to follow what he's doing because I'm monitoring to make sure he doesn't do bad stuff. So I created one also, but I just started posting some videos, random videos on there just for the hell of it.
Mm.
And he had over 100 subs when I started, and he goes, "Oh, you'll never catch up to me, Dad." Challenge accepted.
Nice.
So awesome. I'm well over. Man, how many subs do I got right now on TikTok? I got quite a bit on TikTok.
I've yet to do TikTok.
Yeah, it's completely different. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm at 4,084.
Wow.
So like it just blew up. It just like went crazy. I had a couple videos that went viral, and then my subs just went up. My son, like when I hit 1,000, he goes, "No way! Like wow, you were like at 300 last night, and you're at 800 now." Like he was. Wow.
Nice.
So he follows how many subs I have more than I do because he's the one that comes to me and says, "Hey, you beat that. You got this. You got that." So, kind of
awesome. Guys in the chat, if y'all have any questions, feel free to post them up, and we will ask them. So for crawling, what is your vehicle of choice for a trail run?
Funny you should ask that. I have one right here beside me. Like I didn't know you were going to ask that question. It's crazy. It has to be this one.
Okay, TF2.
That's a RC 4-wheel drive TF2. Yes.
Okay.
This one was like mid condition when I put it in the trail, and it's seen some pretty bad spills and things. The whole body on the side cracked on me. I think it's on the other side. The whole body, like here, cracked. That's because I fell on it. It went down a cliff, like a 20-foot cliff. It started rolling. I went to grab it, but I'm getting old, and my reflex is not as fast as it used to be. I kept going. I didn't stop either. So the truck went down the hill 20 feet. I followed the truck 20 feet, and I landed on the truck. The whole body was cracked. My leaf springs in the rear were all bent to hell. Everything was crooked on it. So I changed everything. The dry shaft is still crooked. When I turn the dry shaft, this pumpkin is like this. It's kind of weird. But it still drives. I like it. I got the AMS skid plate here. This was my best upgrade I've ever done for this truck because now it actually performs way better. Yes, it is not as performance as a SCX-10 3 or a TRX4, but that's why I love the challenge of these. It's got 1.55 tires, still the original tires. They are not the best on rocks, but they're awesome on the trails. So I have not changed these. I keep them on this. So this is the truck when I'm not sure if I'm just going for a trail run, I usually bring this.
Well, and I think that's another good example. That rig there is another good example of a dollhouse style rig. Like it looks like a street vehicle that's been well used.
Mm-hmm.
Now, same question, but say not so much a trail, but more serious crawling. Like you want to go almost competition like. What would be your one of choice?
Well, the Wraith would be better, but right now I'd probably take my SCX10, the original one. It's got 1.9 tires. I'd take that one for class 2.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was very serious and I wanted to compete a little bit better for a class 1, I'd probably take this guy, which I have here. So I'd probably take this guy.
I'm glad you're showing because, yep, that's a great
the Trail Walker is a amazing truck, and it's actually a class 1 truck.
Yes.
As it sits, it does not have a lot of points, but it's easy to point out, max point this truck. By putting an interior, by putting a driver. It's got lights. You probably open the hood. You can make the hood open if you want. There's ways to do it. Put a light kit. Well, it's already got a light kit. Does not have a divorce transfer case, but that's okay. You can get a lot of points. Tires are nice and small. So this is, if I wanted to compete in class 1 and make sure I didn't have a lot of trouble, I'd use this one instead of the TF2 because this one will outperform the TF2.
It's a great performing rig. I have one. That's my class 1 rig.
Yep.
Is a Trail Walker. Love my Trail Walker, and mine is minimally modded. I'm running I have 1.9 class 1 tires, the Hyrax class 1 1.9s, and I'm actually using the gold rims off the Sendero on it because I just like the gold on that blue. Yeah. And I've got a 35 kg servo, a Trail Master 21 turn, still on the stock ESC currently right now. I did the Team Associated high clearance links. Nice.
Hey Tony, I got your sticker.
Yep. But no, that's a phenomenal rig. Oh, RC Sparks. Yes.
RC Sparks.
That is a great rig. And actually, so last Sunday was our Winter Series event, CCXRC. And so at the last minute, I decided to run it in class 2 as well. So I literally just threw class 2 tires. I threw my TRX Blazer wheels and tires on it.
Okay. And
did it in class 2. It actually did better than I thought it would do. Obviously, there was some body rubbing in some certain times, but it performed pretty well.
Here's my winch.
Okay. I have the integrated, one of those DSM integrated kits.
Yeah, this is a servo winch. This thing is friggin' strong.
Well, and they set that rig up from the factory. I mean, it's set up, drop one right in there.
Yep, that's what I did.
Yep. That is a great rig, great choice. So highly recommend a Trail Walker. It is a phenomenal rig, as well as the Ecto as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, the Ecto is more like my Gatekeeper, without the tube frame around it.
Yep. Exactly.
Gatekeeper is a fun truck. It is very capable. It's kind of cool seeing it run. But it is kind of a cheater truck. So you could put it class 1 by putting smaller tires and making sure the body covers everything and so on. But it's fun.
Yep. Yeah, great choice. Radioactive Scale RC, welcome. Thanks for joining us. I was checking some of the comments here. So Kevin Gibbs saying he's got a Bronco hard body with full interior on 1.55s, and it's a TRX4 with deleted portals. She's a beast, but she's fun.
Cool. Yep.
Shade Tree said I can't pick one, but my TRX4 was really my first RC, as I don't count the Red Cat Everest. It has been a tough as nails, but it performs worse than my Element or 10-2. So.
Yeah, the Everest, the Red Cat Everest, it's the geometry is all wrong on it. That's why it's not performing good. It's not the same thing. I can see why the other ones are even better, or the Element RC. They've done a lot of homework on it. They've got a lot of research, and they're doing a good job with it. So
absolutely. I think they're putting themselves in, like Traxxas has sort of been, and I mean, all these brands are good. Traxxas is good. Red Cat's good. All these have always been good brands, but like when you start talking, I say like competition wise, people, the two main ones is Traxxas TRX, make it a class 2 competition rig or a 10-2, or even original 10, but typically 10-2. Those are like the two go-to kits to build a competition rig. But now I think Element is really starting to be mentioned a lot more in that regards. This Enduro line has been really impressive. Kevin Gibbs says the Element has been my best out of the box RC.
Yeah.
And I totally understand why. From the get-go, the Trail Walker impressed me from the get-go. The only thing I didn't like about the Trail Walker in its complete stock form was those tires were horrible.
Yeah.
But with a set of tires on it, it transformed that thing completely.
Tires are okay on some stuff.
A trail truck, it would be fine.
Yeah. But when you go on rocks, people have to realize, and I see this post on Facebook and everywhere, like, what's the best tire I can run? Well, it all depends. Like, that's a real answer. It all depends. Are you running on mud? Are you running on rocks? What temperature is it where you are? Is it always hot? Is it always cold? Your tires are going to perform differently wherever. So the best thing to ask is that question to people that are running near you or you're going to run with, because they're the one that runs the most in your area in that type of mud. The mud in my area is completely different of the mud in your area. So it's different textures, it's different everything. So a different tire is going to react differently everywhere. So
Great.
it's an open question, I find.
100%. And then foams also play a factor into that. The weight of the vehicle plays a huge factor. That's something I've learned this year because I built me a competition class 2 rig that's pretty light. It's under 5 pounds, and most of the guys in my area run landmines, and I bought a set of landmines and put it in, and I'm just like not impressed with the performance whatsoever on the same surfaces that these guys are doing phenomenal with. And I think I finally come to a realization that the foams just weren't soft enough, and the canyon trails that I were running with stock canyon trail foams, which have probably broken down because they're 2 years old now, are just so soft that it gave that rig that was pretty light. It just worked for that rig. So there's a lot of factors when dealing with, what tire works, what kind of surfaces you're on, and what are you trying to do? Are you just a trail truck? Most tires will work for a trail truck for the most part. There's a lot of good cheap tires out there for trail trucks. But, yeah. Kevin Gibbs said, I've done nothing to the Gatekeeper but tune what it came with, 1800 kV Fusion, and it's a hell of a climber.
Cool.
And Shade Tree says, I think from a performance perspective, I think the AR44s have the better steering, but the Element Stealth X gearbox blows the 10-2 out of the water. I think the steering on the Element's pretty freaking good too. It's pretty impressive in my opinion.
But coming back to tires, one of my favorite tire to run on the big class would be these guys. And these are the Mickey Thompson Baja class.
Okay.
My son has done so good with these tires. It's crazy. And I do have 2-stage foam in there, and it's the softness of it at the beginning just grips on everything, on rocks, on roots, on everything. These tires are really good, all around tires. For my son, they're great. For me, they're too big. I run smaller tires, but for him, they're very nice. But
is that your son's rig, the Gen 8?
Yes, that's my son's rig. For me, it has to be my best tire so far that I've had is the one that are on here. And these are the Wranglers, Goodyears. So these are pretty darn good. I like the performance of these. They've done me good. Even on my trails, on some of my videos I was doing, I got a big teeter totter, and it was wet, and everybody couldn't climb it. Like they had a problem. I come with this thing very slowly, like not even spinning. I'm just climbing, and people are just going, "What the heck? Guys, we can't even get up there." And these tires are just climbing it just like nothing. It was like cool. So they're pretty good little tires, and I like that they're very small form factors.
So Shade Tree and Codecraft RC are both saying Deep Woods are their favorite. Well, Shade Tree says Deep Woods is favorite rock tire, and Codecraft says Deep Woods are definitely badass.
I don't think I've ever tried to or seen the Deep Woods. Who makes those?
I've Duratrax.
Duratrax, okay.
Yeah, I actually have some upstairs. I bought a set, and I think they're a great trail tire. Great trail tire. For me, on the rigs that I've tried them on the rocks, they just don't do it for me. But a great trail tire. Great trail tire. And they're not very expensive.
It all depends on trucks and the weight of them.
There's a lot of factors.
Yes. People don't realize that, but when you're climbing or when you're going with a truck, the ratio of your body weight and the tire and the compound that you use and the foam plays a big part. So you do have to find a good ratio for your truck to actually do the climbing and going downhill also. So the balance of your truck.
And speaking of tires and foams, sort of change the topic here a little bit, but have you seen the anti-foams?
Yes.
What are you thinking of those?
Until I try it, I can't say if they're good or bad because I never tried them. But it's interesting. What I find kind of weird with those tires is, are they going to make it for the wide tires and for the non-wide tires? Because there is different brand of tires that are very wide and narrow. So how do they compensate for that? I noticed that they are kind of formed a little bit. So are they for a specific type of tires, or do you tell them you need it for a tire? Because not every tire are the same width.
That's a good question, and I don't know the answer. Sunday got to play with a rig, actually an Ecto that has the anti-foams. Exo Caged RC had his Ecto at our competition, and he has a set of the anti-foams that he's been playing with. And I mean, the Ecto is just a good rig anyway, and he's done mods to it that's made it even that much better. But with the anti-foams, it crawls so well. There's no the tire's not, when you're side healing, it's not falling over. It just.
I can see the benefit of side hill with those because
definitely
it's going to keep everything nice and straight, but it is going to collapse over stuff. So for that, theoretically, it should work with. The theory of that tire is cool. It should perform pretty good, but I'd like to try it before.
No, absolutely. I want to try a set myself. I mean, we were talking about this last week, and I'm looking now. So they currently have them for 1.9, 4.75. They're $34.99 for two, so $60 for a set of foams, or close to $70 for a set of foams. But in theory, you never have to replace those foams again. In theory,
I don't know what what they're made of, but basically if you keep folding and unfolding that plastic, is it going to break inside? So I don't know if it's forever, because just like anything, the more you bend and flex, it is going to give. So
and it's a good point, and it's something I've wondered about, is truly how long will they hold up? Because I was saying in theory you don't have to buy another set in theory, but will they break down over time? Obviously, potentially they are fully tunable. So if they did get softer, you could, in theory, put more tuning rods in them and stiffen them up some more, try to keep them in that general area where you're trying to be in theory. I do know that at least one set of them has been in use for well over a year for product development and stuff. And supposedly they wore out a set of tires before they wore out a set of these so far. So that's a good sign. But they're supposedly, the material is super soft and resistant to hot and cold temperatures. So I think at first, when I first saw them, I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. But after seeing them and holding it in my hand as far as the tire and driving one, they're pretty impressive.
How much is a set of 4?
So 2 is $34.99. So you're basically $70 for a set. So a little on the pricey side, I guess you could say. I mean, a little bit more than a regular foam. Each package comes with 16 small 6 millimeter tuning rods and 16 8 millimeter tuning rods.
Those are cool.
Yeah, and you can buy additional rods, of course, if you need to. But I don't know. It's definitely interesting, and they performed very well on the rig that I was got to play with on, drive. And actually, at our competition course, there's this one climb that only a couple rigs have ever made it over just this piece of concrete that's there. It's this like big hump, and you're like almost vertical, and you got to go up over it. And like very few vehicles, like maybe 3, have ever made it up over this vehicle or up over this thing. And the Ecto made it. Now, I'm not trying to say it made it because of these foams. I actually don't think the foams played hardly any part. Just the Ecto being what it is, I think, was the reason, and it did it so smoothly. And one other person crawled it that day while we were there, but it took him multiple tries and whatever. And like myself, I crawled it. Exo Cage crawled it multiple times with the Ecto. Like every time the Ecto went up it crawled it. Anybody else that's done it has really had to really, really try. So it's going to be interesting to see where these anti-foams, where they go. I know they're on their 3rd pre-order. They've sold them out every time so far. So people are definitely buying them up. We'll see where that goes. RC Voodoo said, tuning rods for when the TPU breaks down and they just collapse. And obviously it's definitely possible it could do that. So we'll see. So for your batteries and ESCs, what's your connector of choice?
Right now it's Dean's.
Dean's?
Yeah, I've been using Dean's for so long. I've been slowly converting them to the EC3 or EC5, whatever they are. Slowly. But all my trucks are Dean's, so there's no reason for me to change to the other one, because I don't have like big bashers that takes like 100C or that would run on 4S. The biggest rig I got is 3S, which is my low C rock rake. That one that runs on 3S. My Savage does run on 6S, but it's not that bad. I run it on Dean's, but it doesn't get that hot, so it's fun.
Yeah, same with me. I've been a Dean's person for always, and I've gotten to play with, I've gotten into RC drag racing builds, and because of that, I've set up the 2 cars for XD90s, because I'm getting some high C rating batteries, to get the most out of the juice. And talking to some people, they recommend either XD60 or XD90s. I went with XD90s.
Yeah.
And God, they're so easy compared to a Dean. I'm like, man, I wish I'd known this a long time ago. And it makes me want to convert, but the thought of converting, how much I would have to convert all the batteries and everything. I'm like,
but there's no benefit to converting for a crawler, like other than the ease of connecting and disconnecting.
yes,
There's no benefit that you're going to gain on a crawler for performance.
agree with you 100%. So
having a street racer or drag racer, yes, I completely agree. Go with a better connector.
Yeah. So, but just dealing with the, like, if I have to put a connector on a battery going forward, I have plenty of Dean connectors to use, but I also have now XT90s. I will likely do XT90s because they're just so much easier to solder on and do it, and it not, like with Deans, it's never failed. I go to solder one on and end up hitting the side of the Dean and melting into it. So even when I get it on there right, it does it, you can always tell that it just never fails with a Dean connector. With the XT90s, I think I've messed one up. 11 Charlie, Javier, welcome. Thanks for stopping in.
Hey, Javier.
So you have some bashers. Which one do you use the most?
Probably my Stampede or my Slash. Those are probably the ones I take out more often.
Is there a particular reason on those?
They handle great, and my go fast is probably my Stampede. I don't think I have any other ones that goes faster than that Stampede on the VXL3 for bashing. Like, I don't have any Armas, I don't have any other thing. So my rock rate is a rock racer. It doesn't jump good. It's a good rock racer, but like I always land bad with that rockway. It's got big friggin' tires that balloons a lot. And to me, it's not a basher. It's a rock racer. But for bashers, it has to be my Slash, and that's because I don't have any other thing.
RC Voodoo said he's never owned a Slash, as neither have I as well.
No.
I want to, but I haven't owned one yet.
Oh, everybody that sees one or plays with one, they're pretty tough. They've stand the test of time. They're pretty tough. They take a beating.
Yep. So I think I want a 4-wheel drive one when I get one.
Oh yeah. The 4-wheel drive Slash. It's I call them a point and shoot basher, because 4x4 you just turn the wheel, hit the trigger, and it goes that way. Compared to a 2-wheel drive, you'll spin out or whatever. Or 4x4, it's a point and shoot. So.
Yep. So, what would be your crawler motor of choice?
I don't really have one. I thought of that question, and I've had a Tekin 35. The 3-slot that's on the Element, or the 5-slot, is way better, way smoother. But I still like a 35 turn, just a regular 35 turn that I have, and it's rebuildable. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's Intergy. I've had that for years on my SCX10, and it's been holding up. But a motor of choice, not really.
Okay. Do you have a radio of choice?
Funny you should have that. I have it right here. It's the Radio Link. So
okay, I've thought about getting one of those.
I like it because you get the voltage for this one. For the 6-channel, you get the 7-channel receiver, and you get the voltage right on your thing to actually see what it got. One reason I love this is simple. They do have a mount on it for a camera or a monitor or whatever you want. So yes, the antenna is on top. It is foldable, but I never broke it. I put my phone here when I'm videotaping, and I'm always pointing at it. If I don't use this one, like I actually did that today when I was going with the Rockway. I was using this on top, but then on the bottom, I actually put this.
I need to get me a setup like that.
A C-clamp, And this you basically put on this, and then you just let it hang. So I usually bring it down a little bit more. Like that one, I'm at this height, but the camera is all the way down, close to the ground. So
I need
it
one
gives
of
you a
those.
different perspective and different look, which is kind of cool.
Yep.
But I use this a lot on my RCs. So
Yeah, I need to get. I have that mount. That actually the mount, the other end. Yeah, I have that piece already. Actually, I think it's. I want to say it was because of you. I got that
yeah,
piece.
probably. Yeah, Tony got the same one. They don't have this one anymore on online, but they do have other ones.
Yep.
But another way I actually hook it up on my other one is this way also. So sometime on my other remote control, if I want it on top, I put it this way on it, and then it's pointing up. So that's another way I usually hang it on my other remote controls. So there's two ways to actually hook them up.
Right. So currently, if I use that mount, I have a mount for my phone it's right off the front of it. So it's like
Okay.
at the just at the base of the my remote. But I know like you and Brent with Adventure Time, well, it's a cool looking mount.
Yeah, that's another clip. That's a new clip because the other one wasn't available. So I got this one now. So
Okay.
this one is nice also, very flexible and easy to use, and you can point this any way you want
Nice.
and adjust it anyway. So it's kind of cool, and it really opens up wide when you
Nice.
like it really opens up very wide, wider than the other one, and then it bites down.
Yeah.
This thing is friggin' strong when you bite down. You got to watch it because you could break your remote control.
Yeah. But I know you've got that, having that low angle, and Brent from Adventure Time does it too. And I've been seeing that a lot. And I'm like, man, I need to get the rod basically. And I know Brent's, he sort of has taped a bunch of pieces together. It's like sort of homemade or whatever. And I didn't want to necessarily go that route.
Yeah, this was, I think, $18. This is Smatry they call it. So you get those on Amazon. They're very cheap, like
I'll be
under
checking that
$20.
out. Definitely be checking that out. Hello, RC, welcome. And Kevin Gibbs asked a question. What do you guys think about the RS4 Sport 3 Flux from HPI? I know nothing about it, so I can't comment on that.
The RS4 Sport 3 is a lot of fun. I have the Hoonigan car. But bashing on the street, the little rocks gets on the front steering, and always, like, you're always stopping to clear out those rocks in the front steering. It locks up and you can't go anywhere. So for bashing in the dirt and things like that, it's not that good. You got to stay on the pavement. It handles pretty good. It's a very good car, goes very fast, handles very good. It's just as soon as you start going off-roading a little bit with it, the front steering always gets hooked up. So that's the only disadvantage I have on that car. But it's a fun car.
All right. KB, I see your message. Yeah, send me an email. I'll do some looking. If you've got a back seat in mind that you're particularly wanting, let me know or send me a link. I'll see what I can find. We can work something out for sure. So in regards to radios, so you like the radio link, which I've been interested in those. Do you tend to put everything onto one remote, or do you have a stash of remotes laying around?
I do have a stash of remote. I've been putting a lot of new trucks on that one, but because I like lending my trucks to people, I do have a lot of remote. If it comes with a remote, if the car comes with a remote ready to run, I leave that one on. I don't bother changing it or putting it on something. It's only the ones I build. All my special builds of the Tamiya, or any other thing, that's when I put it on the radio link.
Yep. Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, I'm with you too. I like to have the ability, and I have, my son, so like to, if he wants to run one of them, give him, have the opportunity for him to run an RC. I do have a couple RCs that are on one remote. But I also like the Traxxas TQI remotes. I actually like those.
Yeah, they're okay.
Yeah, and so anything, I only have two, but anything that's on that, I pretty much keep on that. So
Well, a lot of people are getting rid of them, and as soon as I see some people getting rid of them, hey, if somebody wants this receiver and transmitter from Traxxas for $50, I jump on it. I go get it because it's a good transmitter receiver.
Absolutely.
Like I put this on my gatekeeper, and it's got a dial here, and on my gatekeeper, it's got the a Castle Creation, and it has a third channel off the ESC, and I put it on this, and this actually controls my drag brake, which is really cool, because when I'm bashing with the gatekeeper, I can turn off the drag brake, so then I don't have drag brake, so it doesn't stop. So anytime I want to go fast, I just go fast, and it just rolls, which is really cool. And if ever I get to an incline that's a little bit steep, I just turn it up a little bit, and if I want more, I can actually do more. It's really cool because you see your truck going down, but as you add the drag brake, you actually see it slow down. It's actually stopping. It's like applying the handbrake on it, kind of. It's really cool. So having this dial really is cool on there.
So with that, a question that I have, because I hadn't heard of that before, and I like the way it sounds. So if you're running, like, say, a 1080 ESC, would you, in the 1080, do you put the setting all the way up and then turn it down through that?
You cannot do that with the 1080.
Okay. All right.
The reason is you cannot control or change the parameters of your ESC externally.
Okay.
But the Castle Creation has a control wire coming out of it, and you can program that control wire to be anything. In the settings, and when you configure it originally, you can tell that controller wire is to control whatever into the ESC.
Nice. Okay. Very good.
So I got this for this, and also this on another truck. It's actually my cruise control on my toy hauler. I got this that I went downtown crawl. Instead of always holding it a little bit, I just turn on the cruise control, and then I can actually adjust my cruise control with this.
That's one of the reasons I like the TQI setup on my TRX4, and that's usually my trail truck, because I can set the cruise control and I can turn it up and down if I need to. And like you said, if you're on a long walk or whatever, at least not having to always hold the trigger is nice for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Hello RC said, I have a remote for all, never know what I'm going to run together, don't want to limit myself, and definitely understand that too.
Yeah. So
it's one of the things I ran into when I moved into my current place was putting all my RCs, storing them, so to speak, and then all these remotes and trying to keep them with the rigs. And it's like, man, if I had them all on just 2 or 3 remotes, it would be so much easier. But then, of course, you limit if you can loan a rig out or, that type of thing. So currently right now, I think all my rigs except for 2, which is my competition Gen 8 and my original Gen 8. They're both on the same remote, because I will never run them. I never see me running them at the same time, or I need to, because one's a competition rig and one's a trail rig, basically. But everything else currently has its own remote, and I have a 3D printed shelf right next to the RC on the wall where the remote sits. So
yeah, that's one thing I got to do. I got to find a shelf or a way to store all my remote into this room right now, because I do have it sitting on one shelf, but that shelf is full, and all the other remotes are on the box on the table where my scale garage is supposed to be. So I have to build a shelf or something on one of my walls here to actually put all my remotes.
Yeah. I'm sorry, reading notes there. So, so when you're building one of your custom rigs from the ground up, what's your ESC of choice?
It would be the 1080.
1080.
Yeah, especially for crawler. Simple reason I have so many, and it's cheap. It's affordable, and it does a very good job. There's no reason to go Castle Creation, or I'm not saying it's not good. It has a lot of features. Like, that's what I put on my gatekeeper. It's got a lot of cool feature, but for just a rig I'm going to run once or twice a year, or a truck, a 1080 or even the 1060. On my on-road cars, a 1060 would do just fine. I don't need a drag brake.
Oh yeah, yep, absolutely. Yeah, the 1080 is just for the money. You just can't beat it.
No,
and you never. Oh, I think I say you never have issues out of them, but you don't hear people talking about them dying or anything.
Well, the problem is there's so many of them out there in the world right now. Everybody's buying them. Of course, people are. The more of them you have out there, some of them are going to have issues.
Absolutely.
Because there's more of them. So you're going to hear more about it because everybody's running them.
Yeah.
If you have a company that's small companies, hey, my ESCs are very good. Of course, they don't sell a lot and they don't break, of course, because they don't sell a lot. But sell million and sell 100,000, that's a big difference.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the more you make, the more of them out there, the more chance for failures or whatever. I know I've got currently 1, 2, 3, I think 4 1080s. Knock on wood, I haven't had any issues out of any of those so far. So
it's just like my Tamiya CCO2 that I just built. That's a nice little crawler. But it's a grocery go-getter also. Again, you can't compete against the big guy with the 1.9 tires, but it's a fun truck. And for that one, it came with an ESC from Tamiya. But I didn't want to use that one because I needed drag brake and I needed a little bit more performance. And when I went to the store, I was looking at different ones, and it was $20 more to get the 1080. So I'm there, give it to me. Like I'd rather get it and get the options for tuning it, since I'm going to run that truck more often. So I went with the 1080 instead of something cheaper.
This is I think the second week in a row I've heard this Codecraft saying he is nice. The 1080 is nice, but switched over to the Charisma ARC-2 ESC. It's the same price of the 1080, but has more settings and a better drag brake. And okay. I'm going to have to look into that because he mentioned that last week, and I've never heard of that one personally. So I may have to look into it, and it might be worth giving it a shot.
Interesting to look at, yes, for sure.
Because I definitely have, like, my Trail Walker, the stock ESC on the Trail Walker, the drag brake on it sucks.
Yeah. And the fact that it does not have an on-off switch pisses me off. But
thank you. Yes, completely agree. That was when I was competing last weekend. Usually when I compete, I go to my car. When it's time for me to go up, connect my battery, put the body on, put the battery post on there. And the way we do it, you might have 5-10 minutes in between stages. So turn my rig off.
Yeah.
Well, to turn the Trail Walker off, I've got to disconnect the connectors, and then that means I got to take the body off. So basically, it stayed on the whole time.
Yeah.
Which isn't a huge deal, but still, that's maybe the main reason I want to upgrade the ESC. It could use a little bit better drag brake, but the on and off switch is maybe the biggest thing. So, let's see. Codecraft said the wiring layout is better and it has a lower profile. Okay, I'm going to look into that because I remember you mentioning it last week, and I'm actually need to figure out an ESC for the Trail Walker. So I'll be looking into it. So what's your tire of choice for a crawler?
We talked about that a little bit a while ago. It was that one there?
Oh, yeah, those tires. That's right. Yep.
The Baja Claws, the big one, the Baja Claws, Mickey Thompson. For me, in my area, I really like these tires. On this truck, and I've ran it before, climbs over everything, rocks, trees, and things like that. And then on my Element RC would be the Goodyear. These little Goodyears, what do they call again? Goodyear Wrangler Mtr. These are nice tires. Goodyear Wrangler Mtr. They have two different face on it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that is
So
cool.
very aggressive on one side and not aggressive on the outside.
Okay.
So you
Nice.
can actually flip them one side or the other.
Yeah.
So I put the aggressive side on the inside. So they are, and I believe these are directional. No, they're not. So you can put them pretty much any which way. But
Gotcha.
these are pretty good. They're nice and soft, and they grip over a lot of stuff.
Now, for your bashers, do you do anything special for tires for bashers, or do you just run what they come with?
The only thing I did, like on my Summit, the only thing I did for the Summit is I actually drilled the tires. So I did holes in the tires because the Summit are vented. You either have to plug the hole with a duct tape so water doesn't get in it. But me, when I got it, the guy already had water in it. So I actually just drilled. I did 4 holes. Took a 1/8 drill, did 4 holes around it. And now when I run the truck, it's kind of cool. It does a spray of water. So the water, just because it's centrifuge, it goes right to the center and it balloons. Water just squirts out. So I don't have to worry about water. If the tires are vented, I drill the tires. Other than that, I usually try to keep them plugged because I like water. I like playing in the water. That's why I like beadlocks tires on my crawlers and my other trucks, is because water doesn't get in them. So
yeah, I wish with my particularly my Traxxas Max, I wish that I had knew what I know now, which was I should have either truthfully sealed the holes in the wheels, because not so much for water, because I don't think I've ever had that thing in water, but the sand just got in there.
Yep.
And it's
because when you have them, people don't realize when you have them vented, as soon as it starts to balloon, it creates a vacuum. So it actually, while it's rotating and doing dust, it creates a vacuum. So air goes through and inside your tire. But on top of that, so does the dirt, so does the sand. So then your tires become unbalanced and full of sand and becomes rock hard. It's kind of weird.
Yep. And if you've got like the Traxxas Max tires stock on it, they will pizza cutter, when it's full throttle, that sand goes out there and eventually it's going to find its way through that tire.
On my Slash and Stampede, what I've done also is the duct tape trick on tires. So what you do is, before putting it on beadlock or gluing them, you put duct tape inside your tire. You just stick the duct tape all the way inside the ductor, so it becomes a steel belted.
I have seen that before.
And then you put your foam, and then your foam goes against the duct tape, and it just stays there. And when it goes to balloon, it does still balloon, but a heck of a lot less. Like it doesn't go as much as pizza cutter. It's really cool how it works.
Yeah. That's interesting. Hello, RC was saying he likes, I like running unvented tires, and I'm with you on that. I actually prefer an unvented tire. Obviously, if I decide to drive through some water, I ain't got to worry about water deteriorating my foams. But I've actually just learned or found, for the most part, just unvented, not having a vented tire, even with the right foam setup, I like it. So, and Codecrafts also prefers unvented. Said he used to vent for years, but now prefers unvented as well.
So the only thing I have to worry me in the winter is when you have your tires unvented, especially on beadlocks or on my crawler. When I take my tire and I put it outside, air condenses in the winter. So then you get kind of square tires in the winter with my crawlers if you're not careful. Because all the hair, it gets cold and kind of retracts. So, and air in beadlocks can't get back in. So it kind of creates kind of indents in your tire. It's kind of cool to see.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. I've experienced that even here a little bit. I mean, you can put a vehicle in the back of your car here in Florida and, bake it in the sun, and it'd be 130 degrees inside the vehicle and tire be really full, or so I definitely understand that. Definitely have to be careful when you're not doing vented, on setting it up right. So any future RC buys, anything that you're about to buy or maybe thinking about buying?
Yeah, the only kit right now is the Tamiya Porsche, the new special edition one that can come out shortly. That's the only one I have on order that the store has waiting for me as soon as it comes in.
Nice.
I still got to find a way to pay for it, but it's on the
Figure that out when it gets here, right?
Yeah.
Nice. So, and my last actual question that I had on my list, which is a little off topic from RCs. What's your drink of choice? If
water,
you have a drink of choice,
water or Gatorade. I don't drink alcohol. Even when I was younger, socially I do, but it's just beer. If I go to a restaurant or whatever, it's just beer. I do not drink hard alcohol. I'm kind of boring. I don't smoke. I don't drink. So I'm boring. I'm a boring guy.
I wish sometimes I could drink beer. I can't stand the taste of beer personally.
Oh, yeah.
I two of my really good friends, they both love beer, craft beers in particular, and they've tried for many, many years. Here, try this one, and the aftertaste to me is just, it's absolutely horrible. I would rather drink a hard liquor, Crown or something like that, and even then, like, I don't drink much. So, Kevin Gibbs says I have one Irish coffee a day.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
And Hello RC says loves beer. Does anyone here rough up the channel in your bead lock for the tires? I've been using 300 grit. They definitely hold better. I've never had a problem with my bead lock slipping personally.
Yeah, I guess it all depends on, because some bead locks are kind of weird and funny. Like even when you get the wagon wheels from RC 4-wheel drive, that's the weirdest one and the hardest one because it's kind of made on a angle. It's not square. So that one I can see the bead coming off of it if the bead is not long enough. Any tricks to try to roughen it up to stay in there probably helps. But again, because of speed, you got to remember that tires expand. And as tire expands, the rubber gets thinner. So that's why it blows the bead, because as the tire expands, it pulls and it stresses that tire. So then it becomes thinner. So that's why it comes out of the bead. So to me, it's all has to do with power on your truck. If that bead is always going, change type of bead locks. Just change the type of bead lock on that tire. It should fix the problem.
It's very good. Kevin Gibbs, you ask, what do you run? I'm not sure I understand what you mean. What do I run? I don't know if you're talking about tires and bead locks, but I mean, if that's what you're referring to, I mean, most of my bead lock wheels are plastic ones. I've got stock Senduro bead locks on my trail walker with Hyrax class 1s. I've got a few that are glued on and not bead locks, and those are the TRX4 stock wheels, tires and wheels, which are actually my favorite tires, is the Canyon Trails. Highly, highly recommend them. I have, I think, set that are on my TRX4. I have a set on my Gen 8 original, and I have a full set on my 6x6 as well. So I really love those wheels. Queen, welcome back. So wheels, yeah, mostly plastic ones. I got a couple sets of the Proline plastic bead locks, and I haven't had any issues with slippage. I have heard of people having issues or pulling their beads, pulling the wheels out, but I personally haven't had an issue. So,
well, I have, even on my Slash, like Proline has bead lock wheels for the Slash.
Okay.
They're pretty good. But on 3S, when I race with it, or I used to race with it, I had those bead locks. I popped the bead locks off of it. Like I lost a race, or I had to pull out of the race because of that. The whole tire came off. I got a picture of it. The whole tire is off the rim. Like it was weird. But it's all has to do with speed because it's.
Yeah. So Quinn, what do you said you've been drinking? What you been drinking? Since we were just talking about our favorite drinks. So.
Another one of my favorite RCs. You talked about favorite crawler, but do you know which one of my favorite on-road car is?
I want to say, I don't think it is this, but I can't help but say it. I want to say it's the Porsche. I was right. I was right. The famous Porsche.
I like this one because it's my year when I was younger and all that, having Herbie the Love Bug that talked. Well, not talked, but actually reacted. And when I build this one, it's a lot of fun. When I take it out, I have fun with it. I've jumped it a little bit. I've actually broke the mirror on it already. The first run, I actually had it out. So I got to find another mirror, which I do have one in my other kit in my Rally. So I'm probably going to use the mirror on the Rally and fix this one. Rally, I don't care having a mirror. So
yeah.
It's probably going to break off. And yeah, the Rally is going to look old. But to me, this is a lot of fun to drive. So
it's a great looking. I like what you've done with it. You showed it off before, like the soft top on the roof looks really good. A lot of good detail on that rig, and I'm looking forward to your Rally one. That should be pretty cool.
Yeah. And that's on the MFX01 chassis, which is basically the same thing as this guy.
Okay. You should do a Rally rear view mirror on the inside, a racing one, like on a real car, they have those long ones, probably wouldn't see it, but it would still sort of be cool.
Mm-hmm.
And Hello RC said he's putting bead locks on as we speak. Sort of worried about these. Not a lot of rubber in the bead. So, and Kevin, I'm with you. I can't wait for the Rally bug build. That's going to be pretty cool.
The Rally bug, yeah.
Yep.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do for a paint job yet, but I'll try to do something special on that one. I don't think I'll go box art, but I'm going to do something else on it. Brad's not going to like me because I'm not going to go box art, but you got to evolve.
No, it should be cool. So very good. Yeah, that's all the questions I had. So guys, if y'all have any questions, there's about 15 minutes or so left in the stream. If anybody's got any questions for myself or for Tank, feel free to post them up.
Codecraft. Another thing you can do to put those bead locks together, if you don't have that special bead lock buddy, what I do is I use tie wraps. So the plastic tie wraps, I wrap it inside the wheel, and then you just pull on it. It just brings the two rim together, and then you can actually put your nuts in there. So using tie wraps is a very cheap way to actually put bead locks together.
I was gonna say, I know some people will just take a nut and bolt,
longer nut and bolt would also work, but people that are not builders don't know that, and sometimes you just don't have that part. Because if you're just a casual RCers, you don't have a lot of parts unless you're a builder. So,
agree. And I had never thought about. Zip locks would work actually.
Tie wraps. So I got these little small tie wrap. You just wrap it around. I got a video that shows how to actually do that. A how-to video, how to put the bead locks together, and I put that as a tip. So everybody that watches say, "Hey, that's a great idea," and I'm actually using it right now, and it really helped me. So
nice.
That's the reason I do these how-to videos and the things on YouTube. It's not for me to show off or anything. It's to help some other people that actually needs or that are looking for help. So
yeah, I
it's
agree.
just
I
like,
agree. That's a good. Again, you said it a while ago. Sometimes people don't think of stuff, and I would have never thought of the zip tie. And I have tons of zip ties
yeah,
because I'm a car person, but I would have never once thought to use a zip tie for that. And that's a great,
mm-hmm.
um, great suggestion. I do have a DSM off-road B-Lock Buddy, and it does work very well. I bought it because it was $15, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I spend $20 on more stupid stuff than that. So,
Yeah.
I like the DSM products in general. They have good stuff. So I bought it. Yeah, right there. I agree with you, Codecraft. Like to support the smaller companies, and that's pretty much more or less why I did it. I don't tend to mount a ton of tires, but I have a ton of their products. They're integrated kits, and I said, I'm going to buy this because I like their stuff, and it's a good idea.
It's just like, I like supporting the local hobby store also, but the problem is I'm going to look at my wallet first. Meaning, if the local hobby store is selling something that's $100 more expensive than I can get it online, sorry, they like, I'm going to buy it online. It all depends what it is. If the price is close to a few bucks, then I'll probably, and the local store has it, I'll get it at the local store. But I'm looking out for number one, and that's me first. I don't care too much. I do care and not care about the hobby store. But I'm especially nowadays, everything is so hard. Everything is so tough. Mm-hmm. And I believe the hobby stores actually understand that, and they know that, and they've been aggressive on prices. So
agree. I try to support the local, the closest one to me. I don't go by there a lot, but like if there's certain things I just know, like they don't really stock Red Cat stuff, and I have quite a few, Red Cat stuff, so they don't really stock any of that. I know they're not going to have that. They actually, for crawlers, they don't have much for crawlers, to be honest. Some tires.
Okay.
They have like the deep woods and stuff. So depending, I might go by there and check out for tires. And they have some small scale stuff that I'll go get. And of course, like tools, like, because they also have models and stuff. And I've been messing around with models with my son and stuff like that. So I'll go get like, those kind of things, but a lot of specific parts that are for a specific build, I don't even bother because they don't have it. And, they might be able to order it for me, but I can order it right now and probably have it in 2-3 days versus going tomorrow and them ordering it and it being probably as long, if not longer, for them to get it in, plus the markup. And paint. Codecraft mentions buying paint local hobby shop. That I agree. I do that as well.
Yeah. Paint I buy at the local hobby store. I don't think I ever bought paint online.
I have once because I couldn't. It was this past year, I believe. I wanted that Army. What's it called? The Army green paint. The Army Grab or something like that.
Okay.
And they didn't have it at the hobby store, and so I had to search for it online, and I ordered it online.
Cool.
But only because I couldn't get it locally. So KV was wondering how you learn to edit your YouTube videos so well.
Like I mentioned a while back, before I even started YouTube, I used to do wedding and special occasions. So I used to do editing the old-fashioned way, which means using 2 decks of VHS and actually it's called A/B roll. Editing like that. And then as digital arrived, I started doing digital editing. So I've been doing editing on the computer for years for weddings and special occasions. So it's just practice. It's just time and practice and just thinking about it. Sometimes you do your footage and you think, okay, what kind of music I'm going to use to that? Like the other day with the beat changing, and instead the only thing I did is I did a cut every time there was a beat on the cut, and I saw the wave on the editing was pretty easy. I cut the video, but then every video frame that was cut, I just used what's called mirror, So I just flipped the video around, so it was mirror. So every time there was a beat, seems like it was cutting to a different video, but it's the same video. It was just mirroring and following the beat, which is really cool.
Wow. Over my head.
But it's that's easy to do. It's just practice. It's just the more you do it, the more effects. Some people put too much effects on their video, like swipe effects. When a video switches to another one, it is cool, but it has its places. So sometime a good cut is what you need to go to change videos.
Mm-hmm.
But doing a video also, if you want to keep the attention of people, don't put a video that's going to have like a clip of you driving for about 15 seconds. Even me, I get bored and I go fast forward. I want to see something else. So I fast forward. So either you change the music halfway through or you change something. You have to change the image to keep the attention of the people. So it's just little tips and tricks that you learn. And sometimes I even do editing on my phone. The phone has a pretty good editor. So use that.
So what software do you use for editing?
Right now it's Pinnacle Studio. I use from Pinnacle Studio from Corel. It's Pinnacle. Pinnacle owns Corel, or Corel owns Pinnacle. It's about $100 US. Very good little program. So for the price, for years I was using a hack version. Wait, did I just say that live on YouTube? But after using it for so many years, I said, okay, I'm gonna buy the next version of it, which I did, and I've been using it, and it's $100. Like, why not? Like, I want to support them, so bought the software, and I've been using it. So Pinnacle Studio is a pretty affordable thing. It's not like the broadcast quality that you get from Adobe or Pinnacle, not Pinnacle, the other guys that like Tony uses sometimes. That's broadcast, like it's crazy. But it's been doing good for me.
Nice. I've been debating on switching. I use it's a free software, Shotcut is what I've been using. Which when I started doing the RC videos for truly trying to do them, starting a couple of years ago, I had only done very basic editing, like very just plain Jane, and even now I don't think I do that great of editing. I try not to do too much, but so I use Shotcut because it was free, and there were some good tutorials on it. And it's easy to use. Like, it's really, really easy to use. Now for me to edit a video, I used to spend a lot of time doing them, and now I can edit a video in a pretty timely fashion now. But I've been debating on upgrading to either Pinnacle, or there's a couple of them out there, of course, paying the money to do it. And I need to research that some more.
Mm-hmm.
But
Frank's sons help him. No, I don't think my son helped him. I went to the skate park with him, and I did a video with him skateboarding. And I said, okay, I'm going to do a video with you skateboarding on one condition, and we're going to put it on your YouTube, is you sit with me and do the editing. He goes, okay, sure. So we picked the music first, and then we put the music track, and then we were going with the beat and changing some stuff. And the video was 3 minutes. For the song was 3 minutes. So we took a clip, put it there. So we were grabbing some stuff. He goes, oh yeah, this is cool. And we were watching it. So like 30 seconds. After an hour, we did 30 seconds. He goes, wow, this is taking a long time. Like, I want to go play Xbox. I want to do I have to stay here with you? Yes, you do. Like, let's finish this. And then we watch it. He goes, okay, yeah, that looks good. Let's keep going. So every time he kind of got bored or got like anxious, I showed him the video, what we've done so far. And I was clipping like every 3 seconds. I was taking or changing the view or flipping something just to keep the attention of people. And he really enjoyed it. So he said, okay, Dad, I don't want to do any more video. Because how long does it take for Cutie Pie or the other guy to do his video? I go, making YouTube video is hard work. If you really concentrate and do good editing, it is hard work. Like, you got to spend, it's not just filming, it's editing. Like, do you think they have a lot of time? Some of them don't. And actually some of them hire people to do editing now.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, a lot of the big time YouTubers, not even talking RC related, but yeah, they, send their stuff electronically to somebody and somebody else edits it for them and stuff.
yeah.
It's definitely, it takes some time to do it. Between the videoing, going out and videoing and trying to make sure you got enough in that you can go through and edit and find good content out of it. It definitely takes up some time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's everything I have. Anybody else got questions?
Another RC that I'm proud of that I built, the most recent one is the Steve O'Do, the tribute to Steve O'Do there, the on-road. That one turned out pretty good. It, like a lot of stickers, it was a lot of work for the body, but it turned out great. The green looked on it.
Turned out real good.
I still got to do an on-road video with that one. I got to take a walk, but it's so low to the ground. I got to make sure there's no rocks on the ground when I take a walk.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the. I know that if I'm not mistaken, KB is doing a picture or drawing or whatever of that. I look forward to seeing. He does a really good job with those, so that should turn out really good.
True.
And RC Voodoo said, or be like RC Sparks, one take, no edits on 99% of his videos.
On a lot of my videos, it's actually like that. Like it's when I do my trail videos with people, I turn on and I record, and when I dump it on there, I usually sometimes cut the beginning and the end, but usually I leave everything in there. Those videos are my fastest and easiest one to edit. When I do trailing videos, those are the easiest one to do.
Psycho 13 Garage says, it takes time, but I love it and want it to be mine.
Cool.
So, I try to, when I go video, especially if it's like I did a mod to a vehicle and I'm, doing the driving portion of the video, I'm usually able to, I don't want to say it's a one take, but I pretty much know, like, hey, I'm going to drive this part of this course. This is where I'm going to go, and I can pretty much video it and go all the way through, and not have to edit it. Brandon, welcome. Codecraft, thanks for stopping in tonight. Have a good one.
One thing is, before you go shooting your video, you got to think about what type of video you're going to shoot. Like that, what kind of footage to get. If you say, okay, I'm just going to go videotape me driving it around. Yeah, that's fine. But try to be a little bit more creative and do stuff. Like I'm going to show a lot of jumps, or I'm going to show a lot of these things. So, and then you change your camera position or whatever. Have it on your remote or have it on the ground. I've had it such that I put the camera pointing at the sky and the car's jumping over it. Man, does that ever goes fast? Like a fraction of a second, the car's gone. Wow, that was too quick.
So, no, I agree. I just changed recently. I have TubeBuddy as well, and TubeBuddy has a planning thing to plan videos. And before using that, I used this app on my phone, just like a notes app. So I sort of plan my videos to a certain extent anyway. Like, so some of the videos I have that I still need to edit, I actually need to do some intros and outros, is from the competition I went to. I filmed some of my class 1 and class 2, and I also filmed some other people. So I'll do intros and outros for those. So I basically put like what my video is going to be. If it's new tires on my class 2 rig, say it might be that. And then I sort of have all the steps I need to do, like film intro. If there's an install, film install. If there's driving, film driving, outro, edit, convert, upload, thumbnail, publish. And basically I would go through there, and as I do each step, update it, and take out what I've done, so I know what's left. If I ever forget, I can go back to it. So I just converted here recently to using the TubeBuddy topic planner and doing the same thing in it. And I can put notes like you were sort of saying, if there needs to be something more specific, like I, need to do a lot of backflips, or something, I can, put additional notes in there as well on that, or if I have any particular ideas, on it. So Hello RC said, if I'm filming alone, I'm pretty efficient. If I'm filming with Liz, lots of edits.
Cool.
Yeah, I definitely find when I'm filming with other people, there's always edits. There's always background conversations or different things that come up.
Well, the best shots or the best bashing video has to be when you have a cameraman, but a cameraman that actually uses a real camera with a zoom. Because what you need to do is, but the cameraman needs to know your type of driving also, because he needs to follow the truck as he goes or as he jumps like far away and follow it, but also needs to back off with the zoom. So you need to zoom out softly and follow that action. That's why the Traxxas video and all those other videos that they make, the on-road cars, you see them from far away. They're actually a cameraman zooming out and following the car. It's all pre-scripted. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go by this pole and let's do that. Okay, let's get the shot. And it's all pre-script that they do, and it's all with camera zoom and things like that. Those are the best video. Problem is you can't do that by yourself. You'd need a cameraman. But if you have a cameraman with you, you need to explain them what, as the producer, what you're trying to get and what view you're trying to get. So that's the biggest thing. Try to get the storyline to your camera person. Okay, I'm going to do this shot now, going through this dirt pile, and I want you to follow the RC close, but as it hits that jump, I want you to zoom out. So they have to know that, the camera person, unless they're used to it. So
Yep, absolutely agree. So who was it that said this? Kevin says, I want to use the dog for a cameraman, see what the dog sees. It'd be interesting if they actually stayed near you.
Yeah. My dog is always sniffing on the ground, sniffing everywhere, and just turning. The camera would shake too much.
Yeah. Probably most dogs. Kevin said, I would love to help someone film. I am or was an artist. All right, cool. So sometimes I find it easy to video. Like sometimes it comes easy, and I'm just like, it comes in mind what I want to do, how I want to do it. Other times, there is times where I'm just like videoing, and I'll be like, all right, I'm going to film, extra, because I just don't know where it's going. But I've gotten better with the planning. Helps. You mentioned it, sort of have an idea of where I'm going and what I want to do. Like if I'm putting a new part on a rig, maybe say brass up front on a rig. Okay, I'm going to go here so I can climb this steep incline so I can see if the front end is going to stay down, if it's going to make a difference.
Well, it's just like Steve O'D's rig that I built, the car that I built for Steve O'D's tribute. I want to do a video with it. And I got to do a video with it, but I can't jump with it. I can't really race with it. I can't do a lot of things with it. So the only thing I can do is take a little walk with it, but I have to make it interesting for everybody to watch it for a minute or two. So like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, that's pushing it. But I got to come up with a storyline or something. It's not just walking beside the car. So I have to get side shots, front shots, rear shots. I got to think about how I'm going to do that video to make it interesting for everybody to watch it, but not just to watch the beginning of it, watch everything.
Yep. Agree. And something, I forgot who I heard this from, it's a couple of years ago when I started to do videos and was trying to get ideas on how to do videos. Okay. I come across somebody's video talking about like giving, explaining like what to do. And this person recommended go watch YouTube videos on your topic that you want to watch and find what you like to watch. Now, obviously we're all different people and everybody likes different stuff, but they're like, basically find what keeps your attention, keeps you interested, and sort of use that as somewhat of a guiding. And it sort of works for me a little bit, to a certain extent anyway. That's how
there's one video I made, which was a fast beat video, and I can't remember which car it was, but somebody wrote, I love it, but it was way too short. I want to see more. So those are the kind of things that are cool. That means I succeeded for him to watch the whole video.
Yep.
But I left him hanging to want more. So
Yeah.
that was kind of cool.
Which isn't a bad thing, wanting them more, because in theory it will come back for the next video.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we've surpassed our 2-hour mark. So I want to thank Tank for joining us tonight and putting up with questions and answering questions. I definitely learned more about him and what he's into. Hopefully everybody else did as well. I enjoyed this. Thanks for everybody's participation in the chat. And next Saturday we will be back for open panel for anybody who wants to join. And hopefully we'll have Gabe here with us. We'll see if he's able to. I think he's going out of town for work, so I don't know if he'll be back or not. So, and again, thank you for being on, Tank. Thank you for your time tonight. And if you want to say anything to anybody, feel free.
Okay, it's my time to advertise and plug myself.
Yes.
See you guys on Tuesday for Tamaya Tuesday at 9:30 with Brad and the rest of the gang. And Thursday night, I host a talk show called RC Talk, which is a panel of all bunch of people, and we just sit around and talk about RC-related stuff. Sometimes it goes a little bit off topic, but I try to bring everybody back in. So thanks a lot, guys. Thank you for listening to me banter all night and talk, and we'll see you on other shows.
Definitely. So, yeah, I actually tune in to my Tuesdays. It's entertaining.
It's different, but it's hard to talk about Tamiya's for 2 hours. Like for a certain brand or certain thing, it's pretty tough to and to keep everything within Tamiya is also hard because it evolved in other things, so it's tough.
Yeah. All right, guys. I hope everybody has a good rest of their evening and a good Sunday. Hopefully, everybody gets to do some RCing this weekend and enjoy the outside. And we will see y'all next Saturday for open panel.